Well, we're in a superpower series right now because it's
Yes.
summertime and there are, as usual, superhero movies come out. So let's kind of
Mhm.
have a little bit of fun before we find out what your superpower is. Your
Okay.
favorite superhero.
So I grew up watching Batman. I'd
Okay.
come home from school every day and, get a snack and I get to watch Batman. And then right after, my mom would let me watch Batman, but right after Batman, I had to go and do my homework. Well, I thought of all the superheroes and I realized initially it was going to be Batman sort of for nostalgia's sake.
Right.
But I realized that my favorite superhero is T'Challa from the Black Panther.
Okay. Wow.
And I love T'Challa because he's a king,
Okay.
which means he cares for his people. He's a warrior, so he has to fight.
Right.
He has access to technologies that no one else, other than Wakanda has access to.
Yeah.
And he has like advanced senses.
Oh, okay.
And I love the advanced senses because it makes me think of faith,
Right.
so faith goes beyond what your physical senses can comprehend. It goes beyond what you can see, taste, touch, smell, or feel.
Right.
So faith is like a sixth sense.
Oh.
So for that reason, I yeah, T'Challa would be my
Oh
answer.
gosh, and I really like how you it's a really well thought out answer too. I mean, you just you had these different reasons why, and you shared those, and wow, it's really cool the way your thought process works and how thorough and well thought out your answer is. I love it.
He had such a care for his people. He had such concern to watch out, and as any king should, and
Yes.
should. He had that was his overarching concern. Let's do what's best for the people. So for the
Right.
kingdom.
Right, I like that. Well, it makes me want to revisit that series too. And there were two, Black Panther, which I saw, and then
Mhm.
Wakanda Forever.
Wakanda forever.
Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go. I don't think I've
Hmm.
seen that one yet. Okay,
Hmm.
let's see.
Hmm.
That's why it's so fun to have these conversations and put it out there and let other people think of what they might
Sure,
say,
sure.
answer this. And if you could have a superhero superpower, what would it be?
So my superhero power would be resurrection power. And
Oh,
and
okay.
it wouldn't be it's not just about bringing, you know, people who pass away back to life. But I bet if I asked you, there's someone that you could think of that has passed away, that if I
Mhm.
said, who would you like to just spend 30 minutes,
Uh,
someone that's no longer here, who would you like to just spend 30 minutes with? You only get 30 minutes.
oh
I'm sure
gosh.
that there are a number of people in your life that would come to mind.
Yes.
And for me, though, the idea of resurrection power doesn't only speak to physical beings, but there are so many people walking around with dead dreams,
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
just hopeless, um, just feeling like, that phrase when an inmate is on his way to death row and the guard says dead man walking.
Yeah.
There are so many dead men walking
Mhm.
around.
Mhm.
And what I feel like resurrection power in the sense that to speak a word that would resurrect hope or
Oh,
resurrect dreams or bring life back.
Wow.
into, things that they've given up on. Life happens. As
Right.
children, we start out with so many big dreams and hopes, and I can be a fireman, I can be a pilot, I can be 12 things.
Right.
That's how you feel when you're a child, but somehow life gets in there and reality starts
Mhm.
forcing us to shrink
Yes.
and
Yes.
decrease what we
Yes.
believe we can do. Because how can I do that and pay the bills and raise the kids and get to the
Right.
grocery store and do my job and progress in my career? You know what I mean? So for me, it would be resurrection power.
Well, that is, gosh, again, you've got the twofold reason, bring somebody back and spend a little time with them, and then also to speak a word and bring some life back to people who,
Yes.
because of life, have allowed themselves or not been capable of stepping into the fullness of who they are.
Yes.
Oh, that is absolutely so beautiful. So
Mm.
beautiful. Oh my goodness. Okay. Now I get to find out what your human superpower is. What's your superpower? Although I have a feeling, and I'll tell you what I think yours is later. But
Okay.
what is your superpower?
Okay. I believe that my superpower is the ability to speak life. My I believe that's my superpower. I believe that if you spend any significant length of time in my presence, you if you don't walk away encouraged, if you
Oh
don't
yeah,
walk away with a heightened sense of God's love for you and his desire to work through you,
right.
and just your ability to do great things and the plan that he has for your life. If you don't walk away with that sense after spending time with me, I don't think I've done my job.
Yeah. And I will tell you, listener, that this is Wilma's superpower. She is very encouraging, very inspirational. And I would say the times that I've been, had this kind of one-on-one conversation with you have been tremendous. And I have felt the power, your superpower. Yes, and I'm going to share with the listener that Wilma wrote a book that I read and I have touted on Instagram. Speak Life. Tell us the official name of the book.
The
Speak Life.
name of thank you for mentioning it. The name of the book is Life Speak 101, Speak
There it is.
Life
There
and
it is.
Win.
Okay, Life Speak 101, Speak Life and Win. Yes,
Yes.
fabulous. And it's not only inspirational, but it also has some very practical things that we can do to bring that life and that wisdom and energy into us.
Yes. And we don't realize that we all have the superpower of speaking life into our own lives.
Right, right.
It is just as easy to say, oh my gosh, I mess up every time. Instead of saying that, why not say, oh my goodness, God always helps me to get this right. Even when I make
Mhm.
mistakes, they work out for my good. It's just as easy. Do you know that we have access to we speak on average 16,000 words per day?
We do. Oh my goodness.
16,000 words per day. And so we are created so that all the words that we speak go to work for us. Now, the question is, they go to work. Let me correct that. Every word we speak goes to work. Now, the question is, do our words go to work for us, or do our words go to work against us?
Uh,
Because the life that we are living and sitting in right now, this life is a result of the words you've spoken.
mm,
So if
mm,
you want to change your life, You have to change your words. And I know that it seems so counterintuitive because we are so used to turning on the television and watching news reporters tell us the events of the day, but we're not supposed to repeat the events of the day. What I'm saying is we're not supposed, just because you see it doesn't mean you have to receive it.
Ooh.
My mother used to say, when I wanted to do something, Mom, everybody's going. And then my mother would say, so if everyone jumps in the river, are you going to jump in the river? Are
Right.
you going to jump in the river too? And somehow when we grow up, we get desensitized to the things that are spoken against us, things that are spoken just in fear. Someone coughs a few times and all of a sudden, oh my goodness, I'm catching a cold. Why would you say that? Oh, I must be getting the flu. Why would you say that? Do you want the flu? So my goal is not to speak anything I don't seek.
Okay.
If I don't seek it, I won't speak it.
Okay.
So it's just the difference between, they say, what's the saying? What you see is what you get.
Oh, uh-huh.
That's not true.
Okay.
What what you say is what you'll see.
Oh my
See,
God.
we've been conditioned to believe that, oh, I've got to see it to believe it. No, you got to speak it to receive it. I remember when when COVID was going around, and during the time that, COVID was a big issue, I kept saying, I'll never have COVID. I'll never get it. I'll never get COVID. And everybody was like, are you kidding me? Everybody's getting it, not me. I'm not buying into that. I'll never get COVID. And I recently, that was 2 or 3 years ago. And I recently went to a doctor's appointment, and she said, so how many times have you had COVID? I said, never. She said, what? I said, I haven't had COVID. I'm not having COVID. We need to treat life
Wow.
like you go to a restaurant and you say, I'll have the steak, I'll have the potatoes, and this is what I'll have. Well, if the waitress decides that she's going to bring you a plate of worms, are you just going to take that? No. You're going to say, no, that's not what I ordered. Take that back.
Wow.
Take that back. And the way we send it back is we don't start confessing what everybody else is getting. Like I never said, well, it's just a matter of time before I get COVID. Why would I say that?
So powerful, really very powerful. And I know that you have lived that way because we've talked about it. And then also
Sure.
your book has your real life examples of times that there have been hard things that you and your family have gone through, and the way that you have handled and gone through those hard times. You've applied this, so it's not just this thing that sounds really good and sounds really inspirational. It's more than that. It's real, it's doable, and you do it.
This is how I live. It's the only way to live. It is how God intended us to live. He created us in his image. When he created the heavens and the earth, he said, let there be light. He never said, does anybody see how dark it is out here? He made no comment about the darkness. Now, we're not denying that the darkness exists. So I want to be clear that we're
Right.
not, oh, it's not dark. No, darkness exists. But what you don't have to do is buy into it. And how you do that is you speak light.
Wow. I am reminded of how powerful, this is, and how your faith is so strong, and a wonderful example of your faith in action, which comes through in the things that you post, and beyond that, that's just one tiny little representation of a person's life. You live this, like I was just saying. This is how you live, and you've taught this well to your kids too, because in the book you give examples of times when you're just like, no, no, not that,
Yeah.
this and
Yes.
this, and
Yes.
we're this, and you go through, and you go through well and strong and hopeful and faithful.
Mm-hmm. And my daughter recently applied to a music camp, and they sent her a letter to say that she, unfortunately, there were only so many slots, and we just couldn't accept you into the camp this year. And she never told us that that was the outcome. But she did come to us later, maybe 2 or 3 weeks later, and say, "Oh, by the way, I got into camp." Well, of course, we didn't know that there was a problem.
Oh,
And she said, "But let me tell you a little story here." And I said, "What happened?" She said, "Initially, they turned me down. They said that the slots were filled." I said, "Well, why didn't you say anything?" She said, "Because I knew that's not what I ordered. I knew that's not what I was believing." And I said, "Well," she said, "when I read the letter, I said, oh, they haven't caught up to what's really happening yet."
oh my goodness.
And they ended up sending her a letter saying, "Oh, you know what? Not only have you been accepted into the camp, but we're going to put you at another tier that you
Oh.
didn't even apply for." But this is how we're supposed to live. God gave all of us a voice. And this is how we're supposed to use it. We're supposed to frame our world with our words.
Oh, and I was going to share with you that your superpower is words. So it's really not that different from what what you're speaking life, and how do you speak life through words? And so
Yes.
for me, your superpower, words, the ability to speak them with so much clarity and wisdom and power. And I think when I had you on before, we talked about how incredible this, it's not just a tool, it's a way of living. How you've written the book. I'm wondering if you're going to take this further, like in workshops, or coaching, or a podcast, or something, to where, I mean, because I read it and it was like, oh my gosh, that's so great. But like so many things, if we
Yes.
don't practice it and have kind of guided practice, we're not as apt to be able to really apply it into our lives the way that you have.
So yes, yes, and yes. I have another to everything that you said. I have another book in the works, and I also have some courses coming up. So I would just ask all of your listeners to please follow me on Instagram and all of my social media platforms. And that way I can keep you abreast. You can go to wilmahollis.com, and I'll also make announcements there. I would that way I can let you know when things are ready to be launched. But
Okay.
definitely things are in the works.
Oh, good. I'm so happy to hear that, because I think this really needs to get out there in an even bigger way. Not that a book isn't big, a book is
Sure.
incredible, and what an
Mhm.
accomplishment. It's what I was saying before, the being able to practice and hear more and all of that. It's so wonderful, Wilma. Is there anything else that you feel like you didn't get to say before we conclude here?
Before we conclude, I would only say, if anyone is looking for trying to find out what their superpower is,
Oh, yes, yes.
ask yourself, what makes you angry?
Oh,
I believe that your superpower is tied to the thing that makes you angry. For me, it was making me angry to hear people speak against themselves and not understand why are all these things happening. It's what you're saying.
Oh,
So find out, sit down, give yourself some real time and ask yourself what makes you angry.
that was so
Whatever
good.
whatever makes you angry is something that you're supposed to do something about. It's something that will awaken your superpower.
Oh
Be-
gosh.
because your superpower is not for you, it's for humanity.
Yes, it's not for you. That's so good. Yes, your superpower is not for you. Gosh. Yes. You're so wonderful, Wilma. Oh, this is just fantastic. Oh my gosh, so good. Well, thank you once again. I leave just feeling like I could put on my cape and fly and do all kinds of things.
Because you can.
Yes. Oh, I love it. Thank you so much, Wilma. I'm just very grateful that we're connected, and I'm so
Me
thankful
too.
that you are doing those good things. You are taking your superpower and you're putting it out there for the rest of us to be able to learn from. Thank you so
Well, let
much.
me say, let me say to you, thank you so much for the opportunity. I always, always love speaking to you. This is your superpower.
Oh,
You have the ability to bring this out of people. You have the ability to make people feel comfortable. I mean, I know that this is happening virtually, but this would be the same atmosphere if I was sitting in your living room or you were sitting in my family room. That's your superpower.
oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I hope one day that we can be actually face to face. And I've got a big old fat hug waiting for you.
Same. And some
All
chocolate
right.
chip cookies for you.
Oh, yes, yes. Thank you, Wilma.
Thank you so much.